Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. So glad you're here. What do we got going on in the markets? Well, this week we got a lot of earnings coming out, right? And earnings can adjust the market one way or the other. But I do think this market is due for the pullback before they push it up higher. They're going to push it up. We're not ready for the big crash yet. It could happen anytime. It's just not ready yet. You watch the junk bonds. Once the junk bonds go into free fall, then it's time to run for the hills, but that's not happening yet. They've got a lot of earnings coming out. I think we're going to get a little bit of a pullback, push it up higher, 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 and then the big rug pull is going to come. That's just my take. All right, today I want to talk about what's known as alternative investments, exotic bets, if you will. It's a different way of doing things, right? Everybody wants to be in the markets. Every market is hot, right? Now, but the problem is a lot of the pension funds are restricted as to what they can buy, right? Like you can't go out and put metals and stuff into pension funds. Well, you can now, right? He's reducing all financial regulations, right? I mean, you can become a day trader now with just $2,000. Used to take $25,000. Now $2,000, you can be a day trader, and your pensions are now allowed to invest in what's known as alternative investments. Now, alternative investments are things, well, they're things like crypto, right? Crypto would be an alternative investment. There are things, well, metals. Metals are alternative investments, so it's going to be good for gold and silver. We had a little bit of a pullback in the gold market, a little bit of pullback in the silver market, but I do think they're going to start to go higher, right? You can now make them your alternative investment and put them in your 401ks, put them into pension plans. And art's a big thing right now, right? They can't sell it. It's not liquid. What they do, they bundle them up together and then they sell it as a fund. And now you and the pension funds are now the bag holder. You see, this is private equity. Private equity products are what they're called, right? They're called private equity because there's no open market for them, right? They're held secretly. They're held in private. And a lot of these things, well, they hold them on the books at one price, but when they have to sell them, they're at a different price. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this today. I used to be in the autograph business. The autograph business I was an autograph broker, right? And I brokered a lot of autographs. And autographs are interesting. I mean, you can, buy them and sell them and they have value, but they're not really all that liquid of things, right? Now here's one that's very valuable, right? It's an autograph of the President Kennedy with his wife Jacqueline. Now without the signatures, this photo would be worth about $10. You put these two signatures on and it's worth about $10,000 if the signatures are legit, right? Autographs are what's called an alternative investment. Now they can bundle these up and now sell them to your pension funds. Maybe not the autograph business, but art business. But autographs would be an alternative investment, right? I mean, some autographs are very valuable. A signed autograph by Elvis, the signature, you probably can't see it there. It's in the center there. But the photo itself worth about $5 or $10. You put the signature on there, goes from anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, right? Now, one thing when I was a broker in the autograph business, I loved brokering checks. Now, this is a check from Edgar Rice Burroughs. Now, Edgar Rice Burroughs, he was the creator of Tarzan, right? So he was the creator of Tarzan. This particular check he wrote out for $100, right? $100 check. And obviously it's got his signature on it because it's his check, right? So this check that he wrote for $100 today is worth about $500. The autograph business is very valuable. When I was in the broker end of things, I had some very valuable stuff. Marilyn Monroe was a very valuable autograph, right? I had presidential signatures on presidential documents from way back, James Madison, way back in those days. And I brokered those, right? Those went for thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I would like to have held on to them, but I needed the money, right? I would would buy them from one party and sell them to the other. This was before eBay came out. Now eBay, you can just put it on eBay and people bid on it, right? But back then we had what was known as autograph auction houses. They'd put out a catalog and you could phone in your bid or mail in your bid and they'd sell each one, right? And that's how I would liquidate a lot of my autographs through these auction houses. I would buy them from individuals because the individual really doesn't know what they're worth, right? I mean, if you had a signed of all four of the Beatles' signatures on a photo, how much is that worth? Does the individual know? Individual might sell that for a couple $100 when it's worth closer to $5,000 or $10,000. You could pick them up cheap and then you could sell them at these auction houses and get top dollar for them. But it took about 3 months for the process to unfold. You see, a lot of autographs, they're not liquid, right? I mean, here's one of Louis Armstrong, right? To the right person, this is a very valuable signature. But how do you find that right person? Let's say I needed cash tomorrow, right? And I go down to the pawn shop and try to sell this. It's going to give me $100 for it. But to the right person, that might be worth $4,000 or $5,000. So what I'm talking about when I say alternative investments are things that are really illiquid. They're private equity, right? But now BlackRock and Blackstone, or whoever it is, I don't know, they bundle these illiquid assets up and then they sell them to the pension funds. You see, they're looking out for you, looking out for your pension fund. No, they can't sell the crap to anyone else. So they're dumping it on the pension funds, getting top dollar. And when the pension fund has to liquidate, they're going to be selling them for 90% off, maybe 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, right? And the pension funds are not going to be fully funded. See, right now the pension fund says they're fully funded because they bought these alternative investments at top dollar and they put them on their books at the top dollar, even though they're not worth that much. It's like in the banking industry right now. I mean, we got a big crisis, right? In the commercial real estate, right? You got an office building. It's sitting 80% vacant, 20% is full, right? I mean, that office building is sitting on someone's books. And on their books is probably at $100 million, where it's really, if you had to sell tomorrow, maybe you get $10 million. But on their books, it's $100 million, so there's no problem until you need the money, until you have to sell, until you have the bank run. Then they have to go and liquidate it, and the liquidation price is a lot less than the price that they got it on their books at. So it's a big problem right now. Big problem that they're holding these. Some are still holding those NFTs, right? I mean, what'd you pay for them? $1,000, $2,000? I mean, you can't get $2 for those now. But they still think they're worth $2,000. Well, they're not. They're not worth, I was going to say the paper they're printing on, but they're digital. They're not on paper, but they're not worth the money, right? But you can't unload them to anybody because people have gotten wise. It's the alternative investments, right? People get wise. But you see, I mean, these things, a check is very valuable, but it's not easy to sell. A signed photo of Elvis, not easy to sell, right? But they take time to sell. Now, once again, there's certain businesses that you can start with no money. Autograph business is very interesting. Back in the day, back before, like today, to get an autograph, what do you got to do? You got to stand outside the Coliseum where the concert was, hold out your photo and pray they walk by and sign it. That's the only way you're going to get a signature from a big star today. Back in the day, a lot of people could get a signature just by writing a personal letter, sending it in the mail with the photograph, and they would sign the photograph and return it with a letter. From big celebrities. Celebrities like John Wayne would actually reply to people. He got mail, mail was not that common, it was a lot less people in the world back then seeking John Wayne's autograph. So some of the letters that John Wayne sent out, it was actually his signature on it. Presidential signatures are real valuable, but not Biden's. Biden's were auto pen. He was too old to actually sign anything. And you know who else did auto pen? This is classic. A lot of people are upset with her. She was never president, but anyways, Hillary Clinton, she was a big auto pen person, right? Well, anyways, her thing was she wrote this book after, she wanted to be famous. She could put her book out. It's her book, right? And so she was selling them to raise money. And she was saying they were assigned by her, and she's selling them for $200-$300 a copy. They were all auto pen signatures, not worth $5. Hillary should have been locked up a long time ago just for saying that it was her signature on all these auto pens of the book. She was a criminal to begin with. Auto pen signatures are very detectable. Very easy to detect one if you're an expert in the autograph field. You need a personal signed signature. Now to me, look, autograph business was the strangest business I've probably ever been in. I mean, look at us, a picture of Marilyn Monroe. She's a beautiful woman, right? And that picture you can get for $10, but her signature on it, making it go to $10,000? I just didn't understand that, right? I mean, it's still a picture of Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, it's got a little bit of ink on it. I guess it's kind of like Bitcoin today, right? You got the digits in there and people want those digits. See, I don't really understand the value there either. I didn't understand the value of a Marilyn Monroe signature, but I sold that one, got about seven grand for it or something. Anyways, the Marilyn Monroe signature went out, so I brokered so many autographs back in the day. It was a really good business for a while because you could do it and the privacy of your home. And yeah, I'd be buying these from people all around the world. Actually, they'd send them in to me, and if they were real, I'd authenticate them, and then I'd write them a check for what I felt I could make money on, and then I'd go put them into auction houses and I'd make a lot of money. It was a really good business for the time, right? I mean, that was a lot of fun for me. But anyways, sometimes I got taken. I thought the signature was authentic, and I'd send it to the auction house, and they go, no, it's not authentic. You got to be very careful when you're authenticating a signature, right? Because if it's an auto pen like Hillary, it's not worth anything, right? You don't want those auto pens. They didn't have auto pens back in the days of the John Waynes and the movie stars back then. So a lot of them were signed by their personal secretary. You had to be careful of that. But some of them, the ones that were authentic have become worth a lot of money. The Beatles, right? There were no auto pens back then when all four of the Beatles were alive. They were real signatures, or they were, once again, a secretary sitting down and signing it for the kid that wanted to send in a photo of the Beatles that wanted their signatures. But you could start with no money, and sometimes you could just do it through the mail. But anyways, there's businesses out there that you can go and make money at today. There's still opportunity out there. A lot of people to hear me come on here and they say, Mike, you're so negative. You talk about how everything's bad. Look, at everything's bad in the big macro picture. That's macroeconomics, right? I mean, our economy's in big trouble, but on an individual basis, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's never been more opportunity in the world than there is right now. If you want to hustle, if you want to get out there and make money. People laugh at me as a real estate agent. They say, oh, it must be a terrible time. No, it's a great time. All the other agents have left. I'm the only one left standing. You want to sell your house? Hey, I'm the guy, right? I mean, that's just the way it plays out. And then I take the money that I make into commissions and I put it into the gold. Gold's on sale. You want to get some of that stuff. But these alternative investments are going to bring your pensions down. They're going to come crashing down. And it's going to be an issue with the federal government. Should we bail out all of these pensions? And a lot of people who don't have a pension, they're going, no. But all the people with the pension going, yeah, bail me out because I'm only getting 20 cents on the dollar, right? It's a big problem. It's going to be an issue. It's going to be a social issue. I actually think the government will probably bail out a lot of the pension funds. I think they're going to bail out the banking system when it goes down. They're going to print that money. They're going to print the money and bail everybody out. They're going to have to bail everybody out. Maybe they'll go to universal basic income and just start sending you a check out there for all the people that don't have a side hustle, right? But they're going to keep printing money, and that's why I'm telling you, look at things are on sale right now. Gold, 3,300, that's on sale. Silver, I don't even know what it is today, $36 or something, that's on sale. Look at it, it's an incredible bargain. Cheapest asset on the planet. Platinum had a big pullback. Time to pick some up again. Look at it, I had to run up. I sold it up here, pulled back. I'm starting to load up the boat again. PPLT, PLTM. I only traded in the ETFs. Now, the reason you trade platinum in the ETFs only is because if you buy the physical, no one's going to buy it from you. Bring it into a coin shop. Ask them what they're going to pay you. They're not going to pay you anywhere close to spot price. Because why? Because they can't get rid of it. There's not that many buyers for platinum. But in the ETF, it's instant. So trading an ETF is good that way. Gold, I don't like trading the ETFs. I do it on certain occasions just as a trader, right? But as protection, you need to get into the physical gold. Once they get into the revaluation of gold, I think the ETFs are going to go away, no bid, because they don't have the gold. Physical gold is going to be where it's at. You want to get into the physical on gold. You want to trade the ETFs on platinum. That's just my take. You do you, I'll do me. But that's what I'm doing. I'm Tall Mike. You like this stuff? Give me the thumbs up. Punch that subscribe button. Get out there, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk again real soon. Bye-bye now.